Hi, this is an overview video for the new RSL Manager for domiciliary care. My name is Gordon and I'm going to take you through the features of this software in this overview video. The RSL Manager system is a comprehensive quality management system for domiciliary care services, which give you all the policies, procedures and supporting forms to enable you to evidence compliance with the CQC Outcomes for Care 2010. Okay, so you've downloaded the software from the Required Systems website, you've installed it in your computer, and what you should find on your desktop is a shortcut to the software. Here's mine here, and I'm going to double click on it to launch the software. When you do that, the first thing it does is it checks for updates, and you'll be prompted to install these updates if they're available. Once the system has loaded, this is the screen you'll see. There are three options here. The first option is to start using the system. The second one is to look at a quick Get Started guide. It gives you help on how to use the system. Clicking on the third button here will launch a video tutorial of the RSL Manager system. Let's just click on the Start Using the System button. I've got three services set up here: East Kilbride North, East Kilbride South and Jackton. I'm going to select East Kilbride South, say OK to that. I'm now faced with these four options. I can manage my services, staff and service users. I can view the policies, procedures and forms for that particular service. I can view my staff forms and I can view my service user forms. I'll click on the top option here to manage the service. This is the main screen where you manage your services. Here you'll see there are three services. This is because I'm running the Pro version of the software. The Pro version allows you to have multiple services managed in this one program. The standard version only allows you to manage one service. Apart from that, they function in exactly the same way. What you're seeing here then are all the staff that work for the East Kilbride South service and the service users across here. For each of these we have a photograph and we have their name, a known as, and their gender. We can do things like adding new staff members and new service users. We can remove them, we can edit them. To select between different services, just click here. You'll notice here I don't have photographs for a couple of the people, and what happens is a generic outline is put in instead. You can always add the photograph later once you have one. So this is the screen where you can add and manage the staff and service users. Let's have a look now then at the documents that this system uses. Across the top of the screen here we have a number of buttons. The first button is the Master Documents button. All the documents in this system are in Word format. So if I click on here, I get a list of the 28 CQC outcomes, and clicking on any one of these gives me procedures and the related forms for that procedure. Clicking on any of these links will launch Word with that document. So let's just click on the first link here, Meals and Mealtimes. When we do that, it's launching Word, and here's the document. These are the master documents, and they're simply there for reference. You should not edit them, you should not change them. These documents are used to create the customized documents for services and service users and staff members. The next button is the Manage Service buttons, and that takes us to the screen where we can manage our services. We can add a new service, and we can, as I said before, edit and amend our staff and service users. The Useful Links button will allow you to launch a web browser which takes you to a number of useful websites. So we'll go to the Department of Health website. The References button here takes you to a special page in the Required Systems website where there's a list of further documents which would be of value for anyone who is using the CQC system. And the last link there takes us to the tutorials I mentioned at the start. Let's now look then at the Manage Service screen. I can get to that by either clicking on here or by clicking on the name of the service here. As I select a different service, you'll notice the name changes up here. So let's choose East Kilbride South. What I'm now going to look at are the documents specifically for the East Kilbride South service. If I click on Documents here, again we see the 28 outcomes, and if we click on any of the outcomes we get the appropriate procedures and forms, but this time the difference is when I launch it, you'll notice that it's pre-populated with the name of the service. This is done as part of the process when you create a new service. So we now have a set of customised documents for the East Kilbride South service. If we click on the Forms button, we get a list of all the forms in order, and each of these is a link to a Word document which we can load up by clicking on the link. Finally, there's a search button here. This allows us to search any policy, procedure or form for a word or phrase and find all of the documents that contain that word or phrase. So let's say I typed in medication. And I'm only going to search the forms, so I'll tick that off. And I click on search. What's happening now is that we're searching through the contents of all the documents in the system to find all the documents that contain the word medication. And as you see on the right hand side, a list of these documents is appearing. I'll just stop that just now. If I click on staff forms, what I get listed down the side here are the staff for that service and a set of forms for that particular member of staff. So if I was to select Joan McHardy and click on reference request, we would launch Word, and then we could use this form for a reference request for this person. We could edit it, we could save it, we could print it out. Any documents we save in here will be linked with that particular member of staff. So the next time you open this document, you'll get the document for that member of staff. Service users forms, same thing. We have a list down here of the service users. We can select any of these, and the documents we see in here are for that service user. One of the useful things is this key facts button here. If I click on that, it will launch a screen which will give you some key information about that particular member of the service or that particular member of staff, and the key facts is also in here. Any changes you make to that will be saved in here and will be displayed next time you open it. Also, a useful feature is clicking on the photograph. When you do that, it launches a larger photograph so you can see who the person is. Just a bit more about the saving of the forms in here. If I was to load up a form and make changes to this, I should always save it by clicking on the Save button up here, or if I go to File and go Save. Doing this means that I save it into the same place I loaded it from, and so it will update the form in here. You can of course save it with a different name, and if you do that, then it will be available in the place you've saved it. Any version of Word will work with this from Word 97 onwards, so if you have Office XP, Office 2000, 2003, 2007 or 2011, all of these versions of Word will work with the RSL Manager system. So that's the main features of the RSL Manager system. It allows you to create a service, or multiple services if you have the Pro version. Once you've created a service, you can then add staff members and you can add service users. And each time you add a staff member, you get a set of individualized documents for that staff or service user. One of the other advantages of the Pro system is that you can put the database and all of the information onto a server or a share on another computer. That means then that multiple users can access the database and can use it at the same time. On the standard version, only one user can access the data and it's stored on the local computer. So in summary, this is the RSL Manager system for domiciliary care. The key idea is to keep this as simple to use as possible, to make it with a user-friendly interface, but behind the scenes is a powerful database running this system. Thanks for watching.